The wisdom of personal freedom and the path to a meaningful second marriage. A human being is an independent and autonomous individual who possesses their own freedom. When someone persuades you with reason through conversation, it can influence you, but fundamentally, you have your own freedom. That is what makes a person. You were given this physical body, your heart's energy, and your frequency to form your own individual identity. Each human being holds their own dignity. No one has the right to tell you what to do or not to do. It's just that, because we may lack knowledge or follow someone else's ideology, we end up listening to them. But ultimately, every person is a free, unique, and independent being. This truth needs to be revived. Helping someone is your choice, and someone helping you is their choice. This is not something to interfere with. There is absolutely no reason to blame others in life. If you want to do something, then do it, but never blame others for not doing the same. For example, if a husband doesn't treat you well, it's not something to blame him for. If a wife doesn't treat you well, that's not something to blame her for either. You must create the conditions so your wife treats you well. You must create the environment so your husband treats you well. If you're not wise, you won't even get a piece of rice cake. But if you are wise, you might not just get rice cakes, you might even get fine confections. So don't sit around blaming others, or you won't even get the broth. Let's say you run a factory and it fails. You have to redesign it and start again. If you start a business without knowing anything, you'll definitely fail. But if you keep studying and learning as you go, even if you started off ignorant, you won't fail and will grow. However, if you just rely on confidence without study, you're 100% guaranteed to fail. If you put in no effort and just push forward, you'll fail again after the first failure. If you try and it doesn't work out, unfortunately, you must study your failures. Reflect deeply on what went wrong, find what was missing, fill that gap, and only then try again. That's the only way you'll have a chance to rise again. If you just sit down in failure, you'll never have another chance. Life is a challenge. The reason I say this is because remarriage is the same. When you get married and divorce, you bear all the pain. You and your partner both suffer. After the separation, the pain is indescribable. No one else needs to punish you or make you suffer. Life already does that. That's what it means to be human. You've already paid that price, so from now on, your life must be your decision. No one can decide it for you. No matter how much someone tries to interfere, they won't take responsibility if things go wrong. So ignore all that talk, set everything aside, and make your own decisions from now on. If you wish to remarry, you must analyze thoroughly why your previous marriage failed. You must make a strong effort not to repeat the pain. If you haven't found the reason yet, do not remarry. If you remarry without understanding the principle behind the failure, it will 100% fall apart. If the principle hasn't been discovered, your life cannot take shape with a different frequency. Even if the remarriage looks fresh and new on the outside, inside, it's the same as before. What appears fine at first can be completely empty inside. So how do you discern what's right? First, look at yourself. You must meet someone who matches you. If you marry someone who is fundamentally incompatible, eventually you won't be able to communicate or cooperate. In such cases, the weaker person gets pushed aside. You need to share understanding with the other person to live together. But if you're attracted only to what's above you and you haven't developed yourself, then that attraction is driven by desire. It might seem good at first, but it'll end up being a temporary indulgence. That's why knowing yourself is essential. Understand yourself first before choosing a partner. When selecting a partner, make everything clear. Think of it as an interview. You need to properly assess the person, express your true self, and draw out who they really are. If you judge by looks and remarry based on that, you'll soon regret it. Don't fall for appearances, look inside. Our hearts are who we truly are. When assessing yourself, examine your heart and communicate with the other person's heart. If you make a decision without doing this, it's a distortion. Through conversation, you can reveal what's in the heart. Even if someone lies, after meeting a few times, it all gets exposed. If you approach others sincerely, their flaws will be revealed and caught like radar signals. This is how discernment works. Don't rush. Think back to your first marriage. Wasn't the failure caused by being rash and lacking depth? If you reflect even a little, you'll see it. So this time, don't decide hastily. Take your time with meetings and conversations, and all strengths and weaknesses will emerge. Remarrying is a wonderful thing. It's great to partner with someone in life and lean on each other. But if one side has done wrong and selfishly clings to the other without understanding, it's a disaster. If you do that, you'll end up crying again, wasting your remaining youth. And when you grow older, it'll be even harder. Even in old age, life partnership is beautiful. Leaning on each other is good. But you can only live together if you truly understand each other. When considering someone for remarriage, don't think, will this person live for me? Instead, ask, can I truly live for this person? Choose your partner based on that. If you think about what the other person can do for you, you'll fail 100% and be left disappointed again. There's no exception. If you meet someone with selfish desires, you won't be able to see their inner heart, and when contradictions arise later, you won't be able to handle them. That's when separation becomes inevitable. If you go forward without effort, you'll fail again. But if you've failed once, don't be discouraged. Take that as a lesson and live wisely. People who have experienced failure often meet others who have too. That's when you can build something even stronger together. So don't be greedy. Don't be lured by wealth or conditions. Even with little, you can build a life. It's okay to have wealth, but don't make it a condition. Leave money aside and look at the person's character. Ask yourself, can I truly live for this person? If you discern well and your initial intention remains strong, you can receive love and live a deeply happy life. Key points summary. 1. Each human being is a unique and free individual. Everyone is born with personal freedom and dignity. Don't let others control your choices. Your life is your own responsibility. 2. Don't blame others. Real change starts within. If your partner doesn't treat you well, don't just complain. Improve yourself first. When you become wiser and kinder, your environment will change accordingly. 3. Failure is a lesson, not the end. In business or life, failure happens, especially when you act without knowledge. But if you reflect, learn, and try again with wisdom, you will grow and succeed. 4. Second marriage is another important life challenge. Divorce causes deep pain, and only you experience its full impact. Before remarrying, deeply analyze why the first marriage failed. Without understanding the root cause, repeating the same mistake is likely. 5. Choose a partner based on heart and character. Don't be fooled by appearance or material conditions. Have honest conversations to truly understand the other person. Take time, don't rush. The right partner aligns with your inner self. 6. Remarriage can be wonderful, with the right foundation. Building a life together is a good thing if there is mutual understanding and support. Ask yourself, can I truly live for this person? Instead of, what can they do for me? Selfish intentions lead to disappointment. 7. Let go of greed and focus on what truly matters. If you're greedy for wealth or external conditions, you'll miss what's inside a person. True happiness comes from sincerity and shared values. If your heart remains true, you can build a deeply loving and fulfilling life. I wrote the story based on the above articles. Novel, Spring Blooms Again. In the midst of winter, Yunseo sat by the window of an old cafe, her hands wrapped around a warm cup of coffee. Her eyes wandered aimlessly to the street outside, where the wind swept away the hurried footsteps of strangers, much like how her marriage had been swept away, leaving nothing but fragments. After the divorce, she always said she was fine, but deep inside, scars remained. The hardest part wasn't the loneliness, it was the belief that everything had been her fault. Why did I choose someone like that? Why did I only see what I wanted to see? One day, she stumbled upon a lecture by Master CHEON GONG on YouTube. Don't expect someone to live for you. Ask yourself if you can live for that person, he said. Those words pierced her heart. In her past marriage, Yunseo had relied too much on her partner's actions, hoping to be fulfilled without truly understanding herself. From that day, she began a journey inward. She read books, meditated, and slowly faced her wounds and desires. There were lonely moments, but she endured them. And for the first time, she began to befriend herself. A year passed, and Yunseo found herself in a new chapter of life. She changed jobs and joined a new team, where she met Jihoon. He was quiet, thoughtful, and kind. One evening, while working late together, Yunseo decided to share her past. I went through a divorce. We rushed into marriage without really knowing each other. And by the time we realized it, it was too late. Jihoon was silent for a moment. Then, gently, he said, I've had pain like that too. I had to relearn what love really means. It's not about changing the other person. It's about how sincerely I can love. Something warm blossomed in Unseo's chest. Jihoon wasn't trying to fix her or offer comfort. He was simply sharing his truth. And somehow that made all the difference. Time passed and their bond deepened. Talk of remarriage surfaced, but this time they weren't rushing. They spent time learning about each other, working through disagreements with patience, and being honest in all their communication. Through this, Unseo found peace not only with Jihoon, but also with her former self. At their wedding, Eunseo stood before the guests and spoke. I once failed, but it was through that failure that I learned the meaning of true love. I learned to look beyond conditions, to value responsibility over expectation, and sincerity over appearances. Jihoon gently took her hand. Their eyes met, not in a fantasy of perfect love, but in the truth of shared intention. Together they were ready to write a new story, not defined by the past, but guided by wisdom and choice. Epilogue: every person is a unique and independent being. No one can live your life for you. Your choices and their consequences are yours alone, but failure is not the end. It is a powerful teacher, planting the seeds of new beginnings. And true love? It isn't found in status or charm, but in deep understanding, mutual respect, and the willingness to live for one another, just like Unseo and Jihoon did.